I'm doing is legal. This is why I believe I'll receive justice in the higher court.
Gets to hit more to right and right center than the left. Oh, it is good! He did it! He did it!
It doesn't matter what your background is and where you come from. If you have dreams and you have goals, and that's all that really matters.
But there's only one Usain Bolt.
I owe, a lot to Charlie.
The freedom of expression that the entire world could see.
When you black, it's not a movement, it's a lifestyle. This is who we are.
Inspiration comes in many forms. Not everyone can preach with eloquence. Not everyone can be the first to break down barriers. When Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color line and became an iconic spokesperson for civil rights, it wasn't the end of the fight. Others had to follow and find their own different way to inspire. Like the Say Hey kid, Willie Mays, who simply led by example. With 660 home runs, he's still number 6 on the all-time list, 50-odd years after his retirement, so he could certainly hit.
At bat, M-A-Y-S spells murder. For example, he opened the 1961 season by becoming one of 9 men to hit 4 homers in one game. In this game, the Giants blasted the Braves 14-4, but it was Willie's fence-busting act that made the headlines.
Mays was also a master thief. 4 times he topped the league for stolen bases.
Willie has larceny in his heart. When he reaches first, he can steal second against the best of pitchers.
He could also catch. He won 12 Gold Glove awards, even though the outfield award wasn't introduced until 6 years after his rookie season.
And when a ball is hit to center field, when he's on patrol, watch out. He never drops anything but his cap.
Add all that ability to catch, throw, run like the wind, hit for average, and hit for power, and you get a guy who was all flair and fun on the field, with a quiet modesty off it. A showman, but not a show-off. Willie Mays could light up a stadium with his sheer joy for the game, but he could never preach politics. He benefited from Jackie Robinson's breakthrough in 1947, but Robinson was critical of him for not doing more for the civil rights movement. The thing is, Mays was raised by his father, a railway porter in the deep south of Alabama. He attended Fairfield Industrial High School, but didn't graduate until he was 19. Robinson grew up in California, was educated at UCLA, and thrived on a life in business and politics.
Players to realize their dreams.
Said Major League Baseball Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark. Their experiences and backgrounds were vastly different. That shaped who they were as men, and we needed them both. As the pioneer, Robinson was adored by the African American community, but subjected to some hateful prejudice across the color line. Mays was also adored by Black America. But with his open smile and dazzling talent, he also became the first Black player to win over white America.
That might be all, ladies and gentlemen. I shook up the world! I shook up the world!
The Rising, celebrating Black athletes.
In the middle of Nazi Germany, under the gaze of Adolf Hitler, Jesse Owens put a lie to notions of racial superiority.
It's 1951, and the only person who doesn't think 20-year-old Willie Mays is ready for a call-up to the Major League is Willie Mays. In his brief time parked in the AAAs with the Minneapolis Millers, Mays has posted breathtaking numbers. 35 games hitting at .477, with 8 home runs, 3 triples, 18 doubles, and some spectacular game-saving theatrics in center field. Now, Giants manager Leo Derisha has decided it's time to call him up. But Mays is resisting, believing he's not ready. Derisha is typically blunt. Quit costing a ball club money with long-distance phone calls and join the team. A tentative Mays fails to register a hit in his first 12 at-bats for the Giants. But then this.
And rookie Willie Mays ends his batting slump with a bang. And those swaggering, swashbuckling Giants are off on another spree.
By the end of the 51 season, Mays was named National League Rookie of the Year. But almost straight after, he was drafted into the United States Army and missed most of the 1952 season and all of 1953. His return season of 1954 established the Willie Mays legend. On opening day, he hit a 414-foot home run, the first of 41 for the season. And with 13 triples, a .345 batting average, and 110 runs batted in, he won the National League MVP. But his most memorable act came in the opening game of the Giants' World Series win against the Cleveland Indians, a play that became known simply as the catch. Making astonishing ground for an over-the-shoulder catch, he immediately swung around and threw the ball to prevent 2 Cleveland batters from scoring. It's perhaps the most famous defensive play of all time. With his humble background and genuine excitement for the game, Mays was adored by the people of Harlem, where the Giants' home stadium, the Polo Grounds, was located. In those early years, he would frequently be seen playing stickball in the streets with local kids. And he also took part in end-of-season barnstorming tours with other Black players, including Hank Aaron, Don Newcombe, and Frank Robinson, touring the southern states of the USA. His popularity and the clear example he set was a big reason why he was so hurt by Jackie Robinson's criticism, that he didn't do enough to combat racial inequality. He addressed the criticism in his autobiography. Jackie did a lot of things for the race. I did what I did. I didn't always go out and talk in the public. Sometimes I'd do it behind the scenes. I didn't tell everyone what I did. The Giants left New York at the end of the 1957 season. The end of one era, but the start of a new one. Mays would play 14 more seasons with the San Francisco Giants. including 12 of them at Candlestick Park, a stadium infamous for its fluky wins, making his home run tally even more impressive. Many believe had he played in a stadium more conducive to hitting, he could have passed Babe Ruth's record. But he still bagged the National League record.
Dodger pitcher Claude Osteen delivers. Willie connects and hammers it 380 feet over the right field fence for his 512th round tripper. And he also hammers a new National League career home run record into the books. Willie said, "I knew it was gone when I hit it." Some 28,000 fans and his teammates gave the Say Hey Kid a thunderous ovation for his record-breaking four-bagger.
For much of his time in San Francisco, Mays owned another record as the highest-paid player in the game. But by the 70s, the home runs were less frequent, the bases harder to steal, and the Giants were in financial trouble. After a dismal start to the 1972 season, the New York Mets seized the chance to bring him back to the city where his Major League Baseball career had begun. But he was in his 40s and played just 135 games for only 14 home runs and 44 runs batted in. A far cry from the season after season in his prime, when home runs numbered in the 40s and 50s and RBIs in the hundreds. For a man who thrived on the competition, the adrenaline, it was too hard to take. His retirement announcement came with simplicity and integrity. Like he had always done, Willie Mays led by example.
Anybody have seen me play know that I love what I'm doing. When I go on the field, I want to give 100%. And when I seen the way that I was playing the last couple of years, I didn't feel that the people of America should look at a guy like myself that loved the game of baseball and been on the field and not been able to produce. It's difficult right now to even try to explain to you how much I love baseball and how much baseball means to me. I think we had what you call a love affair. I think the two together for 22 years have been terrific.
It's more than 70 years since Althea Gibson ever so gently pierced tennis's version of the color barrier with her first appearance in a U.S. Open, the tournament she would later go on to win twice. Many of the young sports fans of today might not even have heard of the five-time Grand Slam winner. And if they did, they would surely conclude that hers was a fascinating story, an exhilarating ride. But there's an uncomfortable question to be raised about tennis and U.S. society's attitude to this gifted, generous pioneer. And it's this. If Althea Gibson was good enough to win Wimbledon and shake the hand of the Queen, talented enough to be handed the U.S. Open trophy by then Vice President Richard Nixon, popular enough to be given a ticker-tape parade in New York, versatile enough to turn to professional golf, artistic enough to release jazz records and act in movies, and smart enough to be appointed New Jersey's athletic commissioner and fill other executive positions. Then how was it that she was allowed to spend the last years of her life penniless and a virtual recluse? Althea Gibson was born in 1927, the daughter of sharecroppers on a cotton farm in South Carolina. But when the Great Depression struck in 1930, her family became part of the Great Migration, moving to Harlem, New York. Gibson spent much of her childhood in the 30s dodging school and the violent hand of her father. But she excelled in the street sport of paddle tennis, and a collection was taken up to buy her a membership at Harlem's Cosmopolitan Tennis Club. A few kilometers away, the U.S. Open was held annually at Forest Hill Stadium, where the star of the 30s was four-time Open winner Alice Marble. By coincidence, Marble would a decade later play a crucial role in Gibson's rise in the game. In her teens, Gibson's height, strong serve, and fluid movement soon transferred to the larger courts. She dominated tournaments staged by the American Tennis Association for African American players. Although tennis, with its all-white attire and strong white upper-class background, did not have a rule preventing African Americans from playing the big tournaments like the U.S. Open, Black players were effectively stymied because qualification occurred in events played largely at private whites-only clubs. The remarkable Alice Marble had played exhibition matches with ATA players, and it was she who took up Gibson's cause when it became obvious she was world-class. In July 1950, Marble wrote an editorial in American Tennis magazine. If tennis is a game for ladies and gentlemen, it's also time we acted a little more like gentle people and less like sanctimonious hypocrites, she wrote. If Althea Gibson represents a challenge to the present crop of women players, it's only fair that they should meet that challenge on the courts. Marble's words had immediate effect. A month later, Althea Gibson became the first African American to play in the U.S. Open. And after winning her first match against Barbara Knapp, Alice Marble was there to congratulate her. In the second round, Gibson led six-time Grand Slam winner Louise Brough 7-6 in the third set, when a flash flood stopped play and a lightning bolt shattered a stone eagle on top of the stadium. As the players sheltered, Gibson apparently declared the storm an omen that times were changing. Although she would go down 9-7 upon resumption, the times had indeed changed. Althea Gibson would embark on a career that would change the face of tennis.
Few sports are as high-scoring as basketball, and no one has put more points on the board than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's the NBA's all-time leading scorer, thanks to his trademark skyhook, among the most unguardable shots in history. But that was only part of the package. He was a 6-time MVP and 19-time All-Star, both records, made the All-NBA team 15 times, and was an 11-time All-Defensive player. And above all, he was a 6-time NBA champion. 5 came alongside Magic Johnson as their Showtime LA Lakers laid the foundation for the league's superstars of today.
Success didn't automatically follow after Althea Gibson's U.S. Open debut in 1950. She still had to work as a physical education teacher. Apart from a third-round Wimbledon appearance in 1951, the U.S. Open was the only Grand Slam event she played until 1956. Her best result, a quarterfinal appearance in 1953. She was close to quitting. The breakthrough came in unlikely circumstances when the U.S. State Department sent her with other black athletes on a cultural world tour in 1955. It was the making of her. She made what would be her only appearance at Roland Garros in the 1956 French Open. She won the singles, and with Angela Buxton from England also won the doubles. Then to Wimbledon, where she made the quarterfinals, and she and Buxton won the doubles again. Between 1956 and 1958, Gibson played 8 Grand Slams, making 7 finals, winning 5 of them. Making 7 doubles finals, winning 5 of them. She was the game's joy. She made a jazz record, even sang on The Ed Sullivan Show. But while all this fame and attention was showered on her, she wasn't earning any money. Being the queen of tennis is all well and good, but you can't eat a crown, she said. I reign over an empty bank account, and I'm not going to fill it by playing amateur tennis. Instead, she played exhibition matches as a warm-up act for the Harlem Globetrotters on tour. It boosted her bank account, but when she tried to organize her own tours, she lost it all. While white players she had been beating had sponsorships, offers, and invitations. Suddenly, it dawned on me that my triumphs had not destroyed the racial barriers once and for all, as I had, perhaps naively, hoped. Or if I did destroy them, they had been erected behind me again.
Marlene Bauer-Hagge following in the United States Women's Open.
The professional women's golf circuit was further advanced than the pro tennis scene for women. So she utilized her natural sporting talent and her long-time interest in golf and became the first black golfer on the LPGA Tour. She played with modest success for 14 years, frequently having to change in her car because she was denied access to many golf clubhouses. Her best result was second, beaten in a playoff in the 1970 Buick Open. She appeared on panel shows, dabbled in sports administration and politics, but post-tennis, it seemed she could never quite find her niche. The last 15 years of her life were spent in poor health as she retreated from public life, except for semi-regular phone calls with 2 girls from Compton seeking to follow the path she carved. 2 cerebral hemorrhages and a stroke hit hard at her finances and her pride. When no tennis organization offered assistance, her old doubles partner, Angela Buxton, raised money to pay her rent and medical expenses. When she died in 2003, age 76, the Williams sisters were the biggest thing in women's sport. Let down so often in life, it was only then Althea Gibson was raised to the heights she deserved. It has been a bewildering, challenging, exhausting experience, she wrote in her autobiography. Often more painful than pleasurable, more sad than happy. But I wouldn't have missed it for the world.